thank you all very much for attending tonight. I'm excited to be a part of this conversation. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Jarman. I'm the Associate Director of the Elliott School of Communication and the Director of our University's debate team. And I have the real pleasure to moderate tonight's conversation between the Wichita State Atheist Club and members of Asbury's Church here in town. I'm going to do my best to help keep them on topic and on track, make sure they're answering each other's points, but generally try to stay in the background to facilitate a productive conversation. We hope that will last until sometime around 8 or 8:15, and we know that after that discussion, many of you will have questions, so I'll get up and wander around the auditorium and give you an opportunity to ask them questions. And I know that when the event is over, even everybody will be interested in staying and talking with you as long as you'd like. So with that, we're going to start with Pete Goodman and Greg Chunig from Asbury. We're going to give them a chance to open our conversation, and then we'll let Ben and Abram go with our first reply.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. As I said, my name's Pete. I'm a pastor at Asbury Church here in town. This is Greg, and he also works with me. Tonight, we're just kind of excited to be a part of this as we talk about what we believe. I got a chance to connect with these guys, and I just feel like it's going to be a good discussion. As we kind of open, just so you kind of know where we're coming from, when I was in college, quite a few years ago, I guess now, I had a student I was talking to, and we were talking about faith. I had recently come to be a Christian myself, and I was about 20, and I was talking to him about what I believed and why I believed, essentially wanting him to believe the same. And he said to me at the time, he said, Pete, I hear what you're saying and all this stuff, but I can't accept Christianity. And so we kept talking. He said, the real problem, Pete, is he was a biology major. He said, I can't accept something on blind faith. I just can't do it. It's like, it's just not who I am. It's not how I'm wired. And in that instance, I kind of realized a misconception that people often have about this idea of being a Christian or being a person of faith. And the idea is that faith means blind. It means accepting something with no reason and just being like, oh, okay, I'll believe it. And I said to him at that moment, I was like, bro, my faith is not blind. To say that faith is blind is to totally misconstrue to me what it means to be a Christian. The very idea of being a Christian is I'm putting my faith in something that I see good reason for and have had an experience that the God that I believe in has come through for me and proven himself to me. It's not blind. God never asked me to just step out and take a chance and who knows, maybe he's there, maybe he's not. Like faith is, we can investigate the reasons. We can look logically and rationally at our universe and our world, at who we are as people, and come to some serious conclusions. We can talk to people who've had experiences, who've been there and done that, and we can analyze and think through whether it's credible. And we can in turn decide to put faith things not that are just blind and just sort of ignorant, but based on evidence. So tonight, as we dive in here, obviously you've got a couple of guys on different sides of worldviews. And my point tonight is not to prove God. If God could be proven, we wouldn't be sitting here. But my point is to suggest that there is solid rational evidence to believe this. There is solid rational evidence to back up the experiences that I've had and say they're not just wacky nonsense, but there's true rational reason for this. And so I'm just excited to get a chance and work through some of the arguments. Hopefully I don't sound horrible. We'll find out. But you want to go this way or?
I'll take over. So I'm Ben Holman. I'm the Vice President of the Wichita State Atheists and Agnostics. So the question of faith. We wanted to center the discussion on that tonight because Abram and I feel like it is the most relevant form the discussion against people who disagree can take. So what happens at a lot of these kinds of events and in discussions at large are a lot of atheists or believers alike talking about a lot of evidence and science and a lot of things apologetics and empty tombs and cosmological arguments. But that really doesn't resonate with a lot of people. To be sure, we're probably going to get into some of that tonight. But a lot of people walk away from that saying, you know what, they really didn't deal with why I believe those things. For me, it's not a cosmological thing, it's a cardiological thing, right? It's not of the head, it's of the heart. So it's a faith thing. So what is faith? There are two kinds of faith. Faith one is a faith that each and every one of us has. It is the faith that we have that the sun will rise tomorrow. Faith one is the faith that we have that our mothers will always act in our best interest. It's the faith that grandma's brownies will always taste just as sweet. So it's a faith that is founded on great reasons. But as everyone here knows, there is a different kind of faith, and that is the faith that has animated believers for millennia. And this is faith two. Faith two often slips into the conversation under the banner of faith one. Faith two is an assertion of truth without an accounting of the causal connections from A to B. Faith two is, I believe that it's true because it's just so true. It is the last worst reason that anyone can ever give in support of the truth of a proposition, because it justifies itself by simply uttering a word and not giving legitimately good reasons.
Pretends to justify itself.
Exactly. It pretends to justify its claims in this way, and I want everyone to notice when faith two is being talked about, but being talked about perhaps under the banner of faith one. I think as the conversation moves forward, we'll see if that equivocation happens. But faith two is the kind of faith that every con artist, charlatan, and obviously false teacher who has ever walked the planet has asked us to accept their propositions and asked us to accept their beliefs using, and not giving us good reasons for our beliefs. So what we want to focus on are our beliefs and the reasons that we have to believe them.
Greg, I don't know if there's something you want to say kind of to open, or maybe
Sure.
we'll just move to this kind of question of faith. It's a good start.
Yeah, I was doing an experiment the other day out in the front yard. I found this grasshopper, and I grabbed its front legs and I ripped them off. And I told the grasshopper to jump, and the grasshopper jumped. So I ripped off another set of legs. I believe they have 6 legs. So I ripped off the middle section of his legs, and I told the grasshopper to jump, and the grasshopper jumped. And then I ripped off his back legs. I told the grasshopper to jump, and the grasshopper didn't jump. And so I came to the conclusion that once you rip off the legs of a grasshopper, it stops listening. And my main point tonight is that I believe that both sides have very great logic to them. I'm not here to prove anything to be completely, absolutely provable. Our job tonight is to show which arguments or our beliefs can be logically compelling. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say as far as right now.
Do you want to jump in on this absolute
Sure.
certainty?
I think it's important that we take notice of when we hear things like a certain proposition cannot be proven or disproven. A lot of times when I hear that, what it means to me, what it means to I think whenever it's said is that we can't know beyond reasonable doubt. We can't be absolutely certain in a particular proposition. What's important to notice that whether we're talking about God or any proposition on the table, secular or not, supernatural or not, nobody's ever talking about whether we should be absolutely certain. Nobody's asking for absolute certainty. The only thing that we're asking for is whether we're justified believing a certain thing. So what we're really talking about is operational certainty. It's just the kind of certainty we need to start our cars, or that the roof isn't going to collapse on us, or that when we eat a candy bar, it's going to nourish us. At least a little.
What happens often is that claims and beliefs that don't have very good reasons to support them are often given cover under the absolute certainty banner and under the disprovable clause of science. And so what happens is that people will start talking about things like, well, we can't absolutely be sure God's not out there. I'm not absolutely certain that the Quran wasn't written by the creator of the cosmos, so that leaves the door open for the possibility. But we're not talking about what's possible or logically conceivable, right? As he mentioned, we're talking about what's probable. What are we justified believing? And so at that point, we can really just jettison this talk of absolute certainty and absolute proof, because at no point in our lives are we ever talking about absolute proof for anything, right? We might be jacked into the Matrix or in some evil scientist's lab as he's drugging us. But these concerns don't need to trouble us too much.
Could we get maybe a response? I'm interested in what standard of certainty you think we should approach these questions with?
I think sometimes, you mentioned faith 1, faith 2. I think that's just kind of a strange way of putting it. I think the reality is something either deserves faith or it doesn't. You can say faith 1, faith 2, faith 3, whatever you want to say. The question is, does this thing I say I believe warrant faith? That's the question. Is there enough logical, reasonable evidence to say that, yes, I should put faith in this? Grandma's cookies aren't different than, anything else. The only difference is with Grandma's cookies, I've eaten them so much and they're always good that it warrants my faith. I expect that Grandma's cookies are going to be good next time because they've always been good. So it's not like I have a different faith. There's just been more evidence to warrant faith here.
You know that people use that word differently. And that, we're talking about the way that
I agree. I'm not trying to attack you. I'm trying to clarify, because we met earlier and we were on the same page with faith. I'm just trying to make sure it's clear, like where we're coming from. What's that?
I'm not sure we were.
Okay, that's fine. Let me finish and then we'll go.
For sure.
If I say faith 1, faith 2, whatever this kind of stuff is, ultimately this debate's not going to go anywhere, because I don't agree with what you call faith 2 either. Like, I'm fully convinced that a Christian who doesn't think through why they believe what they believe and can't say, this is reasonable, this is logical, there is evidence to support this. If you haven't done this, I think you're not doing what you should be doing. I hopefully, like those believers that are in the audience, I hope you've come because you're like, I do want to know the reasons. I do want to make sure that my faith is grounded in good, reasonable evidence. So if we're going to say like, well, Christians, they just have dumb faith too, we're not going to go anywhere, because I don't want that either.